Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into some of the darkest and most twisted facts about infamous serial killers throughout history. The stories you're about to hear will shock you, horrify you, and maybe even haunt you for days. These aren't just stories of murder. They're glimpses into the minds of individuals who took things to a level so sinister that it defies explanation. If you're ready, let's get started. Our journey begins in Italy with Leonarda Cianciulli, who turned her victims into soap. Yep, you heard that right. From 1939 to 1940, Cianciulli murdered 3 women, and in her memoir, she shared disturbing details of her process. She boiled their bodies, added cologne, and, in her words, created some of the most acceptable creamy soap she'd ever made. Even more horrifying, she distributed these bars to her neighbors and friends. Imagine discovering that the gift you received was made from human fat. In Cleveland, Ohio, a local restaurant, Ray's Sausage, spent $30,000 battling complaints about a foul odor in the neighborhood. But it wasn't the restaurant causing the smell. It turned out to be Anthony Sowell, their next-door neighbor, who was hiding the decomposing bodies of his victims in his home. When police discovered the bodies, Sowell was eventually sentenced to death for murdering 11 women. Rodney Alcala was a contestant on the dating game in the 70s, charming the audience and even winning a date. But unbeknownst to everyone, he was a cold-blooded killer, suspected of murdering up to 130 people. He's now on death row, officially convicted of killing 7 people, but his true victim count may never be known. Chilling to think that a serial killer was once just a heartbeat away from a date on national TV. In Pakistan, Javed Iqbal was sentenced to a punishment as brutal as his crimes. Convicted of murdering 100 children, Iqbal was ordered by a judge to be strangled with an iron chain, chopped up, and dissolved in acid in front of his victims' parents. However, before this gruesome sentence could be carried out, Iqbal was found dead under mysterious circumstances in his cell. Richard Chase had a unique and terrifying modus operandi. He only entered houses with unlocked doors, believing a locked door meant he wasn't welcome. In just 1 month in the late 70s, he murdered 6 people. Chase cannibalized and drank the blood of his victims, a horrific habit that earned him the nickname, the Vampire of Sacramento. Vlado Tanowski was a Macedonian journalist who reported on murders with shocking, intimate details. Details only the killer could know. After police realized this, they discovered his DNA matched the evidence left on his victims. Caught and facing justice, Tanowski was found dead in his cell in what officials claimed was a suicide. In Anchorage, Alaska, Robert Hansen turned the Alaskan wilderness into his hunting ground. Over 12 years, he abducted women, released them into the wild, and hunted them down like animals. Convicted of killing 17 women, he died in prison in 2014. Known as the Killer Clown, John Wayne Gacy met First Lady Rosalind Carter in 1978. Little did anyone know he had already murdered several young men by then. Over the years, Gacy would go on to kill 33 teenage boys and young men. To this day, the image of him dressed as a clown haunts us. Oddly enough, in 1970, Ted Bundy saved a toddler from drowning. Yet, just a few years later, he began his infamous killing spree, confessing to 30 homicides across multiple states. Some believe Bundy may have had many more victims. He was executed in 1989. Kenneth Bianchi, one half of the Hillside Strangler duo, was audacious enough to apply for a job with the LAPD. He even went on ride-alongs with the police where they discussed his murders. Little did the officers know, they were riding with the very man responsible for killing 10 women. Considered America's first serial killer, H.H. Holmes built a hotel specifically designed for killing. He sold his victims' skeletons to medical schools and created hidden chambers and trapdoors to imprison and murder his victims. It's like something straight out of a horror movie, except it was terrifyingly real. Albert Fish went to extremes few could imagine, including cannibalism and self-torture. He once hammered needles into his groin and abdomen. Fish even inspired the character of Hannibal Lecter, a chilling legacy in itself. Lucas, a serial killer with a high body count, had a rather odd stance on food. He refused to eat a human leg his partner Otis Toole had barbecued, simply because he didn't like barbecue sauce. As if a condiment would be the breaking point. Known for the gruesome poses he left his victims in, Danny Rolling took shock value to a new level. In one case, he left a victim's head on a bookshelf and her body in a seated position. He was executed in 2006, but his horrifying acts left scars on an entire town. Canadian killer Robert Pickton was known for grinding up his victims and feeding them to his pigs. He confessed to murdering 49 women, saying he wished he could have made it an even 50. He's now serving a life sentence, but the dark legacy he left will never fade. And there you have it. 15 seriously messed up facts about some of history's most twisted killers. Each of these stories reminds us of the capacity for horror that exists in the world, even when we least expect it. If you found this video interesting, or chilling, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay safe out there.